Anita, what do I do? I can't sleep at night. I think that I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my retirement. I'm going to lose everything to pay this huge bill, which I don't even think is just. So what can I do? My name's Anita Steberg. I am the founder and CEO of Steberg Law Firm, a law firm in San Jose, California, where we help people with their tax, probate, trust, and estate issues. And recently, I had a client come to me, and she had been under an audit that had taken about a year and a half with the audit. One of the reasons was the pandemic extended the time. The other one's the auditor just never seemed to really be able to grasp the issues. It took the auditor, they would turn in documents, and it would take the auditor a long time. And so the Internal Revenue Service had Donna under this audit for a year and a half to 2 years. And she finally got the audit report. And an audit report, if you've never seen one, they can be very thick. I mean, they have the cover page says the notice of proposed changes. The behind that, it has the calculations of the adjustments they're doing based on the auditor's findings. And then there's multiple pages behind it, some with calculations and some with what the IRS is relying on. And she disagreed with the auditor's findings. The auditor had disallowed the tax basis in some real estate property. The auditor also had disallowed some of her expenses. And in total, she was receiving a bill about $500,000, about $500,000 of what the auditor said was her proper tax. And she disagreed with it. Her question was to me, Anita, what do I do? I can't sleep at night. I think that I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my retirement. I'm going to lose everything to pay this huge bill, which I don't even think is just. So what can I do? Like many clients, this is a common question. And when you're facing a huge tax bill with the IRS, which you don't think you owe, who do you appeal to? Well, there's good news. The IRS has a taxpayer bill of rights that says, and it contains a lot of different provisions. It also, aside from the taxpayer bill of rights, the audit process has some things that are built in. For example, if you disagree with the audit report, you can appeal it to the IRS appeals office. Now, in order to appeal it, there has to be a certain amount of time on the statute of limitations before it will expire. It's generally around 18 months is what auditors like, because it's going to take you a while to get through the appeals process. And if that time isn't there, the IRS is going to ask you to sign a consent to extend the statute of limitations for them to assess the taxes and come up, and you both agree to a new date. And a lot of times taxpayers don't want this. They've already gone a year and a half to 2 years through an audit, having the IRS poke their nose around the tax returns. They've had their life disrupted. They say, I just want this resolved. And the appeals division is a division within the Internal Revenue Service. It is having somebody who's never been involved with the process take a fresh look at it. Take a look at the audit report, take a look at whatever evidence that you want to present, and make a decision. And that decision could be, we agree with the auditor. It could be, we disagree with the auditor and we're going to readjust some things. Or it's going to be, we're not going to make any change. We're going to absolutely overrule the auditor. It is going to accept your tax return as filed. It's called a no change report. And the Internal Revenue Service Appeals Division can do any of those. But sometimes the person doesn't want to go through that process. They just want it. They're like, I think if a judge looked at this, the judge would understand, and I don't want to deal with the IRS on this anymore, which is absolutely valid. So if you're not willing to sign an consent to extend the statute, and you don't want to go through the appeals process, you can, and you don't do anything with the audit report, the auditor is going to turn that file over to the statutory notice of deficiency unit, and the IRS will issue a statutory notice of deficiency. And it'll say notice of deficiency. There are some statutory rules that the IRS has to follow. And on that on that packet, on the very first page, on the page that says notice of deficiency, on the upper right-hand side, is going to say the date the letter was mailed out. It's going to have the taxpayer's name. It's going to have the taxpayer's redacted social security number. It'll have which means the last 4 digits. It's also going to say last day to file in tax court. You have 90 days from the date that notice is issued to file a petition in tax court. And within tax court, you can still get an appeals officer involved to take a look at it. You can work with IRS counsel to resolve the case. And like anything that gets filed in any court, if you are unable to reach a determination with the IRS or a settlement or a resolution with IRS counsel at about a year after your petition's filed, you are going to be given a trial date by the tax court. And that is your opportunity to go into tax court, present the evidence that you want the judge to consider, present any witness testimony that you want the judge to consider. The judge will review the briefs, look at the trial transcript, look at everything that's been presented, and make a determination over who's right, the IRS or the taxpayer. And that is binding on both parties, absent some type of appeal from the IRS or the taxpayer. So if you come through an audit and you disagree with the auditor, there's still a number of options that you can have available to dispute the taxes and the auditor's findings without having to pay. And that's the beauty of tax court, is the taxpayer does not have to pay the tax prior to filing in tax court. You can have the court adjudicate the matter on its merits prior to filing, prior to that assessment, the IRS assessment becoming final. I hope this helps explain a little bit more about the audit process if you're being audited by the Internal Revenue Service. If you found this valuable, or if you know somebody else who would, please share this with them. If you ever want to talk about your situation confidentially, you can always reach out to us where we can schedule a attorney-client private consultation. So I hope you have a great day.